5, kids. I know you guys have had a great time at camp. I have, so I know you have. It's been awesome. So we're going to now look. David has been blessed by God. I mean, yes, he had some problems that were going on, but God was always with him, always faithful, and just has brought him now all this distance to being the king of over all of Israel. And you know what? Now David wants to turn around and bless somebody else. So we're going to see what happens next.
Jesus is living in me, what should I see?
David became king over all Israel. There was peace in the land. Then the Lord gave the prophet Nathan this message to give to King David. The Lord Almighty says, I chose you to lead my people Israel when you were just a shepherd boy tending your sheep out in the pasture. I have been with you wherever you have gone. Now I will make your name famous throughout the earth, and I will keep you safe from all your enemies. When David heard this, he prayed, Who am I, O sovereign Lord, and what is my family that you have brought me this far? How great you are, O sovereign Lord. There is no one like you. There is no other God. David could hardly believe how much kindness God had shown to him. Sure, he had faced a lot of problems. Lions, bears, giants, a king's spear, living in caves. But God had always been with him and helped him with everything. And now David was the king. One day David began wondering if anyone in Saul's family was still alive, for David had promised Jonathan that he would be kind to them. Just as God had been kind to David, so God wanted David to show kindness to others. David called for a man named Ziba, who had been one of Saul's servants. Is anyone still alive from Saul's family? And if so, I want to show God's kindness to them in any way I can. Ziba then said, Mephibosheth. And David said, Gesundheit. No, said Ziba, Mephibosheth is one of Jonathan's sons. He is a cripple. Then David said, well, go and find Mephibosheth and bring him back here to the palace. To Mephibosheth, don't be afraid. I've asked you to come so I can be kind to you because of the promise I had made to your father Jonathan. I will give to you all the land that once belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you may live with me right here in the palace. Mephibosheth bowed low and said, should the king show such kindness to a dead dog like me? You know, maybe some of us feel like Mephibosheth. We may not have disabilities, but maybe we have problems in our lives, and maybe we think we are worthless as a dead dog. Would God really want to show kindness to us? Yes, the Good Shepherd does want to show each of us great kindness. He wants to take care of us just like David wanted to take care of Jonathan's son. Mephibosheth moved to Jerusalem and lived at the palace, and from that time on, Mephibosheth ate regularly with David as though he were one of his own sons. And that is exactly how God wants to treat each of us as his own children. If we will trust the Good Shepherd, he will give us everything we need.
What's the key?
What's the key? The key here is humility. King David is so overwhelmed by God's kindness and blessings that he prays, who am I, God, that you should make me king over all of Israel? Notice he doesn't act like he's better than anyone else now that he's the king. In fact, he wants to return the kindness that God showed him by blessing someone less fortunate, sharing God's kindness. And that's the key.
What's that to me?
King David is like King Jesus in this story. A shepherd becomes king and takes a crippled orphan who would otherwise be a street beggar and places him in the palace to eat at the king's table. We might feel like Mephibosheth at times, broken and lonely with nothing to offer. But Jesus says, follow me and you will eat at my table. Remember, we are his children and he is our good shepherd.
When I think of all that God has done for me, I realize that my life should be an example for others. God has forgiven me, so I should forgive others. God has been kind to me, so I need to be kind to others and share with them about the goodness of God. Life isn't easy and there will always be problems, but when I live in thankfulness to God and return His goodness to others, I know I'm bringing a little heaven to earth.
Practice point!
Once again, it's time for practice point. And we're going to get a little serious. It's time to be serious, okay? And so we're going to sing a little worship song that I think is befitting of this last day that we've just had. And it goes like this. Come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our God, our Maker. For He is our God, and we are the people of His pasture, and the sheep of His hand. Yes, the sheep of His hand. And let's do the memory verse one final time. Bah! Bah! High five, Dad. All right, everyone out of your seats. It's time for this week's memory verse, and it's in Psalms, and this is how it goes. Because the Lord is my shepherd, I have everything I need. Psalm 23:1. Let's do it again. Because the Lord is my shepherd, I have everything I need. Psalm 23:1. Yeah.